Gobble, gobble. Welcome to another episode of the Dateable Podcast and happy Thanksgiving week. We are so grateful for all of you, our listeners, whether you're new or old. And thank you for supporting us. We are so grateful for this friendship that we've built through audio.
Honestly, I am so grateful of this. It really is so meaningful. Just all the messages we get whenever one comes in of how this podcast has helped them. That's what keeps us going. That's the type of messages that we see. And, there's a lot of exciting stuff in our horizon. I love that you did the teaser story and the responses of how'd you phrase it again? It was like something big is happening.
You all know we've been teasing this for a while. We said we have a big announcement. We just can't announce it yet. We can't officially announce it yet. And we've been teasing it on our show too. So this is not a surprise. But we wanted to crowdsource some of your guesses. And these guesses of what you think we're about to announce, woo-wee. Our brains didn't even go there. Okay, let's not even try to give them any clues, right, Julie? Like, let's not say this is definitely not out of the question, but let's just list some of the ones that were said. Broadway play.
Yeah, I was gonna say that one first. That was
viable,
amazing.
Very viable.
I like that it was won the lotto and then doing a Broadway play.
You can't do a Broadway play unless you win the lottery first. It's a lot of money to put on Hamilton, okay? So we got a Broadway play. We're both pregnant. It's another one.
With each other's babies?
With each other, yeah. Yep. And then we put on a Broadway play about it.
A lot of engagements. Okay, I will say, I know we're not going to give away what it is, but can we just say it's not that?
That's it, yes. Let's dispel one of them, yes.
One of my friends from college contacted me and was like, is there something you're not telling me? Like, I would never give that announcement over Instagram.
Well, also, it's just the way that we phrased it. It's like we have something big to announce, but we can't announce it yet. Why would we be holding out on that?
So my partner did take me for a dinner to celebrate this said thing. And I did put up not engaged on my story because I knew that's where everyone's mind would go.
Yeah.
It's funny. Like, we talk about this in this episode too. It's all about comparison of the big life things. And it really is engagement, marriage, and babies that everyone jumps to.
Yeah. Like, you have nothing else to celebrate in your life other than these three things. And then what happens once you've accomplished all three? Do you just go back and get re-engaged, remarried?
Maybe that's why everyone does second and third marriages. Just keep it going.
Just for the validation, right? Just for the celebrations. So what were the other ones were a dating show, TV show, a dating app. Yep. Okay. Yep. We had some really good ones. Book, a possible book coming out. A dating game was another guess. And then a lot of emojis.
Yeah. I like meetups in real life. That one came up.
Oh,
I mean, not again. All for the meetups, but I don't know if it would warrant a big announcement also.
Yeah, I hope you all won't be disappointed by our announcement. Like, guess what?
Well, we've just spelled engagement and babies. I think we can say that. It has to do with us professionally. We'll leave it in that realm.
Yes. Exactly. Yes. But we really appreciate all the congratulations. It's like we're pre-celebrating. We don't even know what we're celebrating.
Love it. But we do have actually a few things that are interesting coming up. One of them will actually be launching in January. So more on that as it comes up. But that was, I feel like, the one that we have been teasing. And then this is the new one that we've been also teasing a little.
Okay, good. I like that you brought in a timeline for this. We do have two things on the horizon for us to announce. We are super stoked for both of them, but they're both very different things.
Yes.
And as soon as we can announce, we will do it.
But yes, very grateful for all the opportunities. And, I think what we've learned this year too, we've been a solo operation for quite some time, or a duo. I don't want to say solo because there's two of us, but we've built a team of people this year, not only that help with the podcast. We alluded to our wonderful editor. I love that one of our listeners, shout out to Becca, she wrote in the Facebook group, "Who is this editor? I want to know his life story. I'm curious." Just because we alluded to him in one of the most recent brunch talks. So we have him, we have our wonderful assistant Kia, we have our wonderful community manager Janice, and then we have all these other supporting people that we can't share yet of these upcoming projects. But I'm really grateful that, one, we've been able to grow, to expand out to people beyond the two of us, but then also that people believe in the vision of Dateable. I think that's one of the best things, as, even our editor, one of the main reasons he reached out is because he loved listening to the content. And as someone that formerly edited, you do not want to edit things that you cannot relate to. It is painful. So if you're actually learning in the process, it's way less painful to do the editing.
That's a fact. And let's not forget our sounding board hosts, who every week put on some great virtual activities and discussions for the community, and also just being our number one cheerleaders. Some of them have been with us since COVID. Just diehard fans.
Thank you for calling that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, one of our community members today, we are talking to him. His name is Drew. We absolutely love Drew. We've been talking about this idea of resident daters for so long. And when we talked to Drew, you and I both were like, this guy is so eligible. Like, how do we find someone to set him up with? Because he's just so adorable and I feel like he's so enlightened. He had such a good take, and he's clearly someone that's done the self-work.
He's so enlightened. He's so articulate, so introspective, but also at the same time with so much humility. He understands that there's so much more to learn, so much more that he can work on. So he comes at dating not from a perspective of, I've done all this work, look at how amazing I am. He's saying, I've done all this work. I know I'm amazing, but I'm going to keep on working on myself because I don't lose anything by doing that.
Yeah. And, it's so easy to think about the grass is greener when we compare ourselves to our friends that might be in a different life stage. And especially during the holidays, I feel like this is the time where this type of thing creeps up. You have maybe your family asking why you're still single, or hey, it doesn't stop at when you're single, when you're in a relationship. When are you getting engaged? When are you getting married? When are you having kids? All the big milestones, it just keeps accumulating. So it's a great time for us to have this conversation to get everyone in the headspace. And as Drew says, instead of looking at the grass is always greener, how do I water my own grass?
So loving that so much. One thing about comparison, there's a framework that I recently learned, which will help us a lot of times if we're find ourselves comparing, especially like looking at social media. You're comparing yourself maybe to even people you don't know. So guilty of that. Is ask the question, does this person's happiness, whatever they just accomplish, whether they just got married, had kids, or did something with their business, whatever, does their success materially take anything away from you?
Yeah.
Just because this person got married, does that actually affect your chances of getting married, if that's something you're looking for? When this person has kids, does it take away your chances of having kids? No. It's a great question to just pause and ask, because then we can get in the mindset of celebrating with people. It's a lot better to be in the presence of other people's success than to be envious of other people's success.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think another big piece too is it can give you inspiration that it's going to happen to you also. You look at someone else. I know that with other podcasters that we look up to, it's like, well, if they are able to do it, maybe we can too. and I'm sure podcasters look up to us. It's all a cycle. And same with romantic relationships, you know, knowing that I remember when I was single and like all my friends were in relationships, it did dispel the myth that there were no guys out there that wanted to commit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, in my city, all my friends have found those people and they're with fantastic guys. So that means that it exists and that I will find it too. That's such a better mentality than thinking like, why me? Why am I the only one that couldn't find it?
Right? It's so easy to go with the victim mentality because then you don't have to look at your side, yourself. You don't have to look inward. But if we can look inward, and it's not about being hard on yourself. It's just like, okay, well, I'm in the position I'm in today. There's nothing, what is in my control? The only thing in my control is how I let things impact me. So what am I thinking about? And then what I do about it. Those are the only things in my control. So I choose today to do the positive thing, to think the positive way. That is what I can choose.
Yeah, and not to minimize it, I mean, I feel like this is something really difficult that I've struggled with, and I still struggle with it. Even being in a relationship, I think like, friends have been so important to me. It's been such a core of my outlet of support throughout the years. And I do remember when all my friends were getting married, there was this wave of marriages when I was 30. Ironically, or maybe not ironically, around the same age that Drew is, because I do feel like this tends to happen when you hit 30. There is a little bit of a divide of people's life stages. And I do remember talking in therapy that it was less about me even finding someone at that point, but more about not being left behind. And I really had to come to terms with that maybe I was looking for a relationship, but I wasn't looking for the right reasons. It was because I just wanted to fit in with everyone. So I think this stuff can run really deep. And, even now, I had kind of like a little breakdown the other night of just that, a lot of people are moving in different directions. One of my best friends I used to do a lot with is in Mexico indefinitely. I was kind of like having this come to Jesus moment of things are really different now. And I'm really happy in the sense of like my relationship and the way it's progressing. But there is a side of me that's kind of like longing for the way things were a bit too. And feeling a little like empty with that, and my partner was really great about just reminding me that, just if people aren't there, you could find a new way to connect with them. And it doesn't mean that, things might not be the same. And I've even noticed this with like friends that have children. Like the other night I went out to dinner with a group of my friends. It was finally just the girls. I feel like it's normally families, significant others, like the extended group. And the vibe was just so different. And I'm even thinking about like my birthday when you were there. Yeah. It was a girls' dinner. And I'm like, I miss that. And maybe it doesn't happen as often, and maybe it takes a little more effort to make it happen, but it doesn't mean that we can't evolve with life changes too.
I hear you on that. I think being open and embracing change is a major learning as we get older, because we're just growing more and more apart physically as people get into relationships and start their own families. And it's hard not to hold on to the way things were. But you also have to think you hold on to those moments. They're so special to you because they're not forever. If they are forever and you can have them anytime, they wouldn't be as special to you, right? So then we just have to be grateful. Again, back to this theme of Thanksgiving and being grateful. Yeah. We have to be grateful for the memories we've created and also understand nothing is permanent.
Yeah, no, it's so important. I think when the comparison game creeps in, obviously there's a lot of really great advice getting through it in this episode. But I think a big part too is, where is this coming from? A lot of times I realized for me, it wasn't actually coming from that I was jealous or anything. It was just that I felt like I was like being left behind. And like, how do you then get to the root of that opposed to just feeling bad that you're not at the same stage as someone? That's the larger self-work to happen.
Yep. stuff you talk about in therapy. I really think this is one of the major
Yes.
benefits
Oh
of
my
therapy
God, yes.
is digging into the why of why, why you're feeling this way. And most of the time when you scratch just beyond the surface, you start seeing, oh, okay, what I thought I wanted was not actually what I've been wanting this whole time. You have to address the
Yeah.
root of the issue.
Yeah, absolutely. But we are so excited to do this episode. We hope everyone is having a great Thanksgiving. I'm looking forward to staying local this year
Hmm.
and being at a friend's house for Thanksgiving. And I think there was about 12 people going, and I know my partner and then her and her husband. So I don't know who all the other people are,
Wow.
but it should be fun. It's always funny and fun when there's the random group, but looking forward to not traveling this year and just staying put because I'm going to be doing a lot of family travel over the December holidays.
That's great because you've been wanting to meet new people. This is a great chance to meet even more new people.
And you are doing quite a lot of traveling. You're doing the opposite of me for Thanksgiving.
Yes, we're speaking to you all from the past, I guess, because once this episode airs, I will be in France with my mom for Thanksgiving. We're doing a very European Thanksgiving, if there is such a thing. There definitely is not such a thing, but we're gonna do all the things we can. But it's really great time to spend time with my mom. We haven't had a girls' trip, just the two of us, in a really long time, in years, and we used to do them quite a bit. The last one we did was Cuba.
Oh,
So
right.
that was years ago, maybe like five years ago. So she's very much looking forward to it. And it's also around the time of her birthday. So it'll be a special time.
Exciting.
Yay.